Let me just hit the record button for this webinar. And good morning and welcome back to American Council's Edtech Accelerator. This is Ivan Borisov, and today we have a web session with colleagues from Blackboard, an education technology company that I think does not require any further introduction. So with us in this session, we have three wonderful people. First of all, we have Kai Lu, Director for Partner Enablement at Blackboard. He will discuss the ways that tech startups with new and innovative products can connect and work with Blackboard, and what Blackboard can do for them, and what they can do for Blackboard. Secondly, we have Scott Hurrey, a code poet and a senior content designer at Blackboard. He will discuss opportunities for developers and the way Blackboard connects with developer talent outside of his company. And last but not least, we have Elizabeth Blacklin, principal at Blacklin Associates, and she will help me today with moderating this discussion. So we are planning to have maybe 40-minute presentation with 20 minutes of Q&A session after it. So without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to Kai, please.
Fantastic, thank you. And Scott, if you could share the presentation, that would be fantastic. Great. Ivan and team on the call, can you all see the screen? I can?
Yes.
Fantastic. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone on the call. Thank you, Ivan, for that introduction. As you mentioned, my name is Kai. I am the Director of Partner Enablement here at Blackboard. My chief role at Blackboard is to work with our partners and ensure that they're successful within the industry, right? Not only are we looking at existing partners, but going out into the education technology industry and look for innovative new solutions that we can bring into Blackboard as partners, bring into our ecosystem, so you can leverage your solutions within the education market across the world. We are an international company. I manage part of the North America business. We have colleagues in the UK in our London office that manage the international business. And so as we continue our conversation around partnerships, et cetera, and we want to move forward, one of my roles is to make those introductions for you to our international business development colleagues. On this call today and on this webinar today, we want to talk about two specific initiatives that we are working with industry experts to really launch as part of BB World. For a little bit of context, over the last 2 years, I've been in conversation with American Council, trying to look at initiatives that we can run together to really help promote, right, education startup companies globally, right, and specifically for the cohort that American Council is supporting. And so we continue to work together, and hopefully we can start developing a program to help you, the cohort, right, really go to market both internationally as well as obviously in North America. The context of the conversation today, we want to talk really about two specific initiatives at Blackboard in which American Council is involved. I want to start the conversation in talking about Blackboard World. Scott, if you could forward the slide, please. And so the context of this conversation today is around a number of initiatives that we at Blackboard are running as part of Blackboard World, right? Blackboard World 2017, as you can see, it's July 25th to the 27th in New Orleans, Louisiana, or if you want to say it properly, Nolens, Louisiana. If you do choose to go, please dress appropriately. It's hot and humid. So BB World is Blackboard's primary conference in North America. We had another one last month for our international markets in Milan called Teaching and Learning 2016. But BB World is really where all of our clients, our partners, education, industry leaders, thought leaders, et cetera, we all collaborate at BB World. Next slide, please. So at BB World, we have around over 2,000 attendees. We're expecting about 3,000 this year because it's in New Orleans as opposed to Las Vegas. We have over 150 speakers, and so at BB World, we have a number of different tracks, right? There's a technology track, a CEO track, an educator track, really to help attendees, right, be engaged with other members and institutions and partners to interact and to build networks at our conference. And then finally, we have over 50 exhibitors, right? So our partners, the partners that I work with on a daily basis, right? Many of them choose to exhibit, right? And part of the conversation today, right, is around those exhibitions and a particular initiative that we're running at BB World. Scott, next slide, please. At BB World this year, I'm sure you're all familiar with Moodle. You might not be familiar that Blackboard actually owns two learning management systems. Blackboard Learn, which is our flagship, right? We have over 3,000 customers on that platform, right? That's the one that everybody knows, probably is the second largest learning management system in the world. We also own this a different LMS called Moodle Rooms, right? And Moodle Rooms is based on the Moodle platform. And the Moodle platform obviously is the largest learning management system in the world, open source. Moodle Room allows clients who do not want to host Moodle on their own, we offer them a full service hosting solution for the Moodle. Right? So those are the two products that we have. And this year at BB World, not only will all Blackboard Learn clients be there, but we also have the Moodle Moot, the US-based Moodle Moot at BB World as well. So now you can engage with both our Blackboard Learn clients as well as Moodle clients, Moodle Room clients. So a great opportunity to interact with over 4,000 clients now when we look across that ecosystem. Next slide, please. And so finally, the reason that we're here, right, we talked about DevCon and what's included in, BB World. Part of BB World, the first 2 days of BB World, right, or the 2 days prior to BB World, we have DevCon. Yeah, go ahead. Question? No? Okay. So the 2 days prior to BB World, we have DevCon, right? And DevCon is our developers conference, where we interact with our ecosystem of over 3,000 developers, right? Both from a partnership community, the open source community, the LTI community, client community, right? All developers have the ability to join us at DevCon. We have a number of different initiatives and tracks at DevCon, right? To really help and promote integration and integration technology as part of DevCon. And fortunately for us today, DevCon is run by Scott Hurrey, who has joined us today, and he and Mark O'Neill are known as the DevMen, and I posted an image of Scott and Mark there for you to review. The reason that I want to bring up BB World, Moodle MOOC, and DevCon is because this year we're running a particular initiative, right, around innovation, right? Over the last year and a half, 18 months, we've released new technology, a new platform, a new integration platform with associated APIs that we really want to try and promote to the market, right? We believe this, for Blackboard, the new integration framework, will really help promote technology investment across the sector. And so to really promote the sort of innovation aspect at BB World and at DevCon, we've created two programs. And Scott's going to focus on the first program, and I'll hand the floor over to Scott, after which we'll talk about that second program. Okay, so Scott, I will mute. Please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Just as a brief introduction, my name is Scott Hurrey. As Yvonne mentioned, I am the Blackboard code poet / senior content designer. Essentially, I'm responsible for our external developer community. So anybody that doesn't work for Blackboard that builds integrations with a Blackboard product lies within my purview of responsibility. And a main key component of that is planning our events for developers, as well as providing all of the developer documentation. Went the wrong way. Okay, there we go. So what I want to talk about today is a new initiative that we've come up with this year with the aim of making an annual event. And that event is called Hackboard. As you can see, our creative team has put in some pretty good work coming up with a fun logo for us to use. Really trying to capture the spirit of innovation that came across back in the 70s and 80s when people were coming up with these cool little video games, and how far we've come since then in the area of technology and development. So what is Hackboard? Hackboard is what you would expect. It's a hackathon. This hackathon is going to be a global hackathon, so it will be available to anyone in the world who is legally allowed to participate by their local country's laws. The idea is that we will provide a 6-week period where folks can essentially build whatever innovative, creative project that they've been thinking about or that they think of to do as part of this initiative in order to try and win prizes. So at the end of the 6 weeks, we will have a judging period of about 3 weeks, including 6 celebrity judges, which I'll introduce you to in just a few moments. And the idea is that all of this will culminate at our developers conference in New Orleans. One key component of this is that we will also build this into the initiative that Kai is going to talk about, and that is the Innovation Corner. So I want to introduce you a bit to our 2 divisions. So we have the Kroner Cup. This is what I refer to as the open division. So this is available to anyone in the world that wants to participate. This is a true hackathon, so we have prizes. The winner will get $2,000 US, as well as a trophy. For those that don't know, the Kroner Cup is named for George Kroner. George Kroner is the person that basically ran the developer community for 10 years or so before I took over. And so I wanted to give respect to George and name this particular division after him. So we also have a student division. This is called the Fontaine Trophy, and this is currently open to students in North America higher education. The reason for this is because the winner gets travel and lodging as part of their prize, with the idea that most students probably can't afford to pay for their own travel to get to the conference. And we want to make sure that they're there to enjoy their winnings. So that is essentially the prize for the student, and they will also get a trophy. Keeping with the idea behind the Kroner Cup, the Fontaine Trophy is named for John Fontaine, who is the former technical platform evangelist for Blackboard, who George actually reported to and was really responsible for championing the developer community internally at Blackboard and externally for anyone who would listen. The one thing that I think is important, particularly to this group, is that essentially for the open division, we will have a winner before DevCon, but we're actually going to invite the top 3 entries based on the voting. And so the 3 finalists from the open division, as well as the student winner, will also get entry to DevCon and BB World covered, so they don't have to buy their own tickets. We will give them time on the main stage at the DevCon opening to essentially show everybody in the audience the great work that they've done. So if, for instance, if one of you were to enter and win, you would be able to get on stage and demonstrate what you've built and use that as an opportunity to promote what you're doing as a company. We'll also have folks on the closing stage at DevCon, which is where we will pass out the awards and the cash prize in the case of the open division. And we'll also include everybody in the innovation corner in the form of a rocket session. So we'll have time set aside in the exhibit hall at BB World for folks to be able to talk about what they've built to a much larger audience than we'll receive at DevCon. And then lastly, we'll be doing a DevCon live stream, which is essentially like a 2-hour podcast that we'll be doing from BB World. And we will have the finalists and the winners participate in that in the form of an interview for 15 minutes or so. Just another opportunity to really promote what you've done and who you are. So the Hackboard entry criteria is really quite simple. Because this is the first one and it's hopefully the first of many to come, I really wanted to make the entry barrier low. So essentially we have 3 tenets that we're looking for. The open standard support. So essentially any entry must be an IMS Global LTI tool provider. So for those that aren't aware, IMS Global is a standards body that is basically manned by most of the big companies in education. And essentially they come up with specifications that all the LMS providers and the EdTech tools then implement so that everybody can work together. In this particular case, we're talking about the learning tools interoperability. So essentially this is a standard method by which your application can launch from an LMS known as the tool consumer and pass along information that then allows your application, which is known as the tool provider, to trust who's coming, to know a little bit of contextual information about who they are and where they're coming from, and even pass grades back at the end if that is part of the integration. We're also requiring folks to use the Blackboard Learn REST APIs. This is important to us because REST APIs were introduced last year, and we are really looking to drive adoption of those. Particularly in today's education climate, it's really, REST integrations are really the preferred method because they live outside of the learning management system. So if something goes wrong with the REST integration, the application, it's separated from the actual learning management system, which is safer for the folks who are running those. So instead of campus losing all of their teaching and learning ability, they only lose that one particular tool. It also gives you a ton of options that make it better for you as an integrator as well. So number one, you are outside of the LMS, so you don't have to rely on a system administrator issuing updates and things as you come up with them. It really gives you more control over what your application does, how it does it, and how you maintain it. And the last thing is open source support. So open source is a particularly important initiative at Blackboard. The entry in this case will be open source via the Common Community Commons 4.0 International License. This is not to say that you wouldn't be able to then take that source code and turn it into a product that was not open sourced. That's actually part of the license that it allows you to use it in a different manner to build upon without having to violate the license. So, so those are the 3 core tenets of the Hackboard entry criteria. I would say that I know many of you probably already have products that are not open source. The idea behind Hackboard is that we would be building something new. So this could be a way for you to test out things that you're thinking of implementing into your own product. It could be a base for a new product that you're contemplating, or if you don't have a product, it could be the base of the product that you're going to be selling. Just bear in mind that this does have to be open source to be submitted and to be eligible to win, but what you do with it after that is completely up to you. So this is the judging guidelines. So if you were to build an application and submit it for judging for the hackathon, these are the things that the judges will be looking at. So essentially, you see the 6 tenets on the left-hand side. Innovation, essentially, is this something that's new? Is this something that is very creative? Is this something that can change the way people do business? The user experience is always important. It's important that the user experience works well, that it's intuitive, that people can pick up your application and use it without having too much training. the quality of the application. So we would judge it based on how well it's built, how well does it work. Are there any buttons that are there that don't actually do anything if you click it, that sort of thing. The impact, which is kind of important. Can your app be a game changer in the education space? If this was released and it was put on campuses across the globe, what kind of difference will it make to the teaching and learning that goes on for those students and those teachers? Technical difficulty. So building a cool app is cool. We also want to give props for those that do difficult things. The more complex the business logic and the more well that it is implemented, the better off folks will be judged. We want to see cool and innovative things, and a lot of times that causes technical difficulty, and so we want to reward folks for that. And then lastly, the presentation. So what the presentation refers to is essentially the way that these will be submitted at the end of the 6-week period. There will be a link to source code, but there will also be a 5-minute video demonstration that essentially demonstrates the application, gives us the message of what you built, why you built it, why you think it's important, really making the case why you think you should win the hackathon. And so we will reward you for that as well. So I mentioned we have 6 celebrity judges. The first celebrity judge is from Blackboard, Peter George, who is my ultimate boss. He is our chief product officer and essentially runs all of our product development organization across the world. Katie Blatt is our chief strategy officer, also at Blackboard. And she is basically responsible for the direction that the company is taking based on needs in the industry, what's best for universities and schools going forward, and really making those forward-looking decisions on how we are going to operate as a company. Michael King is Vice President of IBM Global Education. He will be representing IBM with a lot of experience on global education, not just a particular area. And so we felt he was a very good choice to add to our judging panel. He brings a little bit of clout, a little bit of expertise, and quite frankly, I think he will help us pick the best integrations from the pool. Also from IBM, particularly the Watson education, is Chalapathy Neti. He is very hands-on in Watson education. He is very knowledgeable about things that people are doing with education and how Watson, which if you're not familiar with, is essentially an artificial intelligence. So people can use Watson in education to do all kinds of cool things around deciding personalized learning paths and that sort of thing. So I'm very excited to have him on the panel. We also have Leo Zadanovsky, Principal Solutions Architect from Amazon Web Services. Leo does a lot of hackathons. He judges a lot of them, and so he brings a lot of expertise, particularly around hackathons, but also around solutions architecture, how the application is built, the design decisions that were made, how they affect the overall product. Looking forward to having Leo. And then also from Amazon Web Services, we have Warren Santner, who's the manager of the solutions architecture team. Warren also has a ton of experience judging hackathons. He also has a ton of experience on solutions architecture and how the applications are built. And so really think that these 2 gentlemen from Amazon Web Services will give us some insight on the technical difficulty and how the applications were built. Whereas some of the other judges will give us more expertise on sort of the strategic value of the application and that sort of thing. So I think we have a pretty good, well-rounded group of judges that will help us to pick the very best of the entries from from the pool of entries. So essentially, our hackathon will be run from our Blackboard community site. So this can be found at community.blackboard.com. This is an area that you can join regardless of whether or not you have any affiliation with Blackboard. So if you're a Blackboard partner or if you are an EdTech startup in Europe, you can essentially sign up for a free account and you can interact with the Blackboard community. So this is an example of the Hackboard space and how it looks currently, some of the information that you can find there. And this is also where the submissions will take place. So you see the projects tab there. Each entry will essentially create a project which contains an uploaded or linked video, as well as a link to the source code repository. But that's not the only thing that you can find here. This is also where all of the developer documentation lives. The developer documentation is fully socialized. So as I mentioned, you can submit comments on directly to documents. You can start discussion forums if you have questions. You can interact with other folks who are interested in building REST applications or LTI applications. This is a great place for you to go for real-time interaction with folks across the ecosystem of the developer community to get answers and to read documentation and essentially get up to speed with our REST APIs and how to use them. So here's a few links that I wanted to share with everyone. You can see we have the community site. That's community.blackboard.com. We have the registration site for the hackathon, which is not yet live. We're just finishing up on a couple of things, and then that should be live by next week. But that will be located at blackboard.com/hackboard. We do developer office hours every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time for the purposes of our hackathon. We will either use those same office hours, or depending on how the registration sort of spins out across the world, we may do different office hours at local times for different jurisdictions. So maybe one for Australia and Asia, one for Europe and Africa, and then one for the US, just to make sure everybody has a fair opportunity to join and ask questions as they're building out their applications. You can always find us at email at developers@blackboard.com. You saw the DevMin photo earlier. Developers@blackboard.com goes to both Mark and I, as well as Mark Kaufman, who works with Kai, supporting the commercial vendor developers. You can always find me on Twitter at @shurrey. I do post quite a bit there. A lot of times it is sharing blogs or sharing new source code repositories that we've released, or sharing when we post new documentation to the community site and that sort of thing. And also share my Skype, scott.hurrey. I'm always happy to talk with you if you have questions about the hackathon or about development in general, or anything else to do with Blackboard that I can help you with. I'm always happy to chat with you there as well. So does anybody have any questions about the hackathon or about DevCon before we start talking about the Innovation Corner? Feel free to jump on the mic or post in the group chat.
The question came in chat. How many of your customers are professional associations? When you refer to professional associations, I'm just going to use examples from the US. Are you looking at associations, for example, the Mortgage Bankers Association or the Teaching and Learning Association and things of that nature? Both, yes. So when you think about Blackboard, we have essentially 3 market verticals, if you will, right? So within both international and North America market, the 3 verticals constitutes K through 12, right? So, I think that's fairly self-explanatory. We also have higher education, right? University and colleges, et cetera. And then finally, we have professional education, or Blackboard for Business. And that worldwide is about a $50 million annual business line. And that business primarily goes after corporations, professional associations, any organization that supports or have adult learner needs, right? So an example of an integration and a partnership we've built there almost exclusively for professional education and professional association is, for example, somebody like lynda.com, right? Where they offer a lot of professional development training and content, which a lot of our corporations will leverage, right, to deliver professional development. So we have quite a number and quite a large breadth of associations within our Blackboard for Business vertical. Hopefully that helps. Other questions? Yeah, so that's a great question. So we do have a number of proctoring partners at Blackboard already. They currently use our Blackboard Java APIs. However, we are in the middle of transitioning a number of those proctoring services, leveraging our REST APIs that Scott spoke about before. You can find that at developer.blackboard.com. And typing in there.
I was doing the same thing.
Where you can, one, find documentation to our REST APIs and sample code. And thank you to Scott Hurrey. He's the one that actually manages that page, I believe. And then on that same page, you can actually register your application through our developer gateway as you are leveraging our REST APIs. Okay?
And registration is free, so you don't have to sign any contracts or anything to register an application to get your keys and secrets, which is all you're really doing at developer.blackboard.com. So you're not sharing any code, or you don't even have to have an application in order to register. It just gets you what you need in order to build an application.
Thank you, Scott. Any other questions before we proceed? We'll keep monitoring the chat window, and so obviously please continue to chat. Yeah. So Elizabeth, I don't know if Alex is the same person that Scott wanted to introduce us to. Yeah. It is. Okay, fantastic. So we do, Alex, have a international business development, like I mentioned, Sam Weber and Tiago Mateus. Run our business development for our international teams. And so certainly we can put you in touch with them. And there's a conversation about that already. Yep, no problem. All right, so the next section I want to talk about just very quickly is the innovation corner, right? So one initiative that Scott talked about around hackathon, right? Really getting our community, and we have, like I said, over 3,000 open source community members that are developing based upon our APIs or on LTI, right? And we want to really support and drive innovation through that channel, through that hackathon concept that Scott talked about before. We also have a second initiative as part of BB World, and that's the Innovation Corner. And we started that last year. The Innovation Corner, and this was just a screenshot from last year, is an idea that we had like I said, last year, where we build relationships with organizations across the education industry, for example, right, American Council, and really look for compelling new solutions in the education market, solutions that supports Blackboard's long-term strategy, right? Solutions that our clients have asked for or are interested in, and solutions, as Scott says, that changes the game, right? And so what we're doing this year, last year, I will say, it was exclusively based upon our relationship with DreamIt, and this is just one example, just a quick slide about DreamIt, where we had an innovation corner, right, that was dedicated to DreamIt, and we had 10 members from the DreamIt cohort. DreamIt is a Edtech Accelerator and Startup Accelerator, right? So we invited all 10 of their cohort members to participate, present at BB World. This year, we're looking at expanding our presence, right, from an innovation perspective, right, and looking at new opportunities and new partners, right, in addition to DreamIt, to bring into the innovation corner. Ideas that we've already talked about, right, at Blackboard is we'll have representatives from virtual reality, right, and they'll be able to do presentations and interact with our clients, right. They don't necessarily have a relationship with Blackboard. They might not have an integration with Blackboard, but that's not a requirement, right? This is simply a matter of looking in the industry, looking at technology, right, and thinking about what is new and compelling. So, right, VR is one. Scott highlighted this before, and why we have IBM on the board, right, is because we've developed a strategic relationship with IBM, and they have, you know, aside from Watson, some other really compelling solutions that might impact education. And so it's companies like IBM that we're going to invite and have presentations, right, at the Innovation Corner. This year, Scott, can you forward the slide, please? In addition to DreamIt, we've been working with American councils. Oh, I should have said councils, I'm sorry. And, you know, with Elizabeth and with Yvonne and with Adrian, right, in thinking about, right, what we can do together, right, as part of the Innovation Corner. So the idea is that, you know, and we'll continue to work with American councils, is to work with each one of you, perhaps have half-hour sessions, take a look at your solution, right, and be able to understand what it is that you bring and your solutions bring to the education sector, right? And once we've had that due diligence, right, and after we've understood those each of your solutions, we together will decide to extend invitations to some of you or all of you, depending on your solution, right? And Blackboard, as Scott said, would provide free registration and access to BB World. You will have an invitation to present at the Innovation Corner, right, along with DreamIt and IBM and the VR companies that we're looking at, amongst others, right? And it gives you that opportunity, as we said, to keep extending your current solution, right, and having conversations with our clients in the market to determine efficacy of your solution, interest of your solution, and really to help you network across the industry, right? Just for context, with DreamIt, the company that we built a relationship and they presented last year, we've signed 2 formal relationships with their companies. We've signed 1 strategic relationship with one of their companies, right, based upon interest from our clients. So with the Innovation Corner, the hope is that one or more of you have a solution, right, that really fits our and our clients' long-term strategy. We would extend that invitation to you and provide free registration, et cetera. And based on conversation with American Council, I think they would take care of the travel expenses. The specific selection criteria, we will need to talk more with American Council and then communicate that to you. But I want you to understand, right, that beyond the hackathon, we also have the Innovation Corner, right, in which we will work together with American Council, look at each of your solutions, right, and select the most appropriate solutions and then extend an invitation to present and attend BB World. Scott, next slide, please. I think that is it. Yep. So When you think about Blackboard, and I don't know the context that you have around our company, one of the key initiatives this year is around innovation, right? And thereby, Scott and his team is pushing the Hackboard and developer conference at DevCon, really trying to promote new and compelling solutions in the education industry, right? And in addition to that, we also then are extending the opportunity to external partners and extending invitations to those partners with compelling solutions that fit our strategic vision, right, to incorporate as part of our overall innovation initiative over the next few years. So again, my name is Kai. I don't use Twitter much, so I did not provide that information. But I will be working with Yvonne and Adrian and Elizabeth to build a process by which we can help identify and select the appropriate candidates and extend those invitations to BB World, depending on your interest. So with that, Scott, thank you for your time today. And I thank all of you. Are there additional questions or comments for Scott and or I? So the next step, so there's two, right? For the hackathon, as Scott mentioned, we're getting final legal approval. Once we get that legal approval, we will provide that information to Yvonne and to Elizabeth for them to distribute to you. So for the hackathon, if that's what you're interested in, you'll have a registration process there. For the innovation corner, I will work with Elizabeth and Yvonne, determine selection criteria, right? Look at all of your solutions, and then start scheduling most likely half-an-hour demonstrations. So we, right, Scott and hopefully members of our leadership team can look at your solution and decide which solutions and which of you we would like to extend that invitation. So I would expect a communication on both those fronts coming from American Council, hopefully over the next 2 weeks. Any other questions, comments?
Kai, this is Elizabeth speaking. Yeah, in terms of the approval by Blackboard for the international side of things, that should happen, as you said, in the next couple of weeks, you're hoping?
Scott's hoping for, what, this week? Early next week?
Should be any day now.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, and for those of you here, unlike most of you with a startup company, we are an international company, and so we move at the pace of the Titanic, and sometimes it takes a while for us to get legal approval and things of that nature. As Elizabeth and Ivan know, we've been trying to get legal approval for over a month, but please be patient. This is key to our initiative, and we're just waiting for it to sign off.
And transparent, it was the holdup has been that it is important and imperative that this be a global competition and not just a North America competition. And so with that comes a lot of complexity in legal agreements. Every country has its own laws regarding contests and that sort of thing. And so I like to complain that it takes forever to go through legal, but I understand that that they're doing what they need to do in order to make this a global competition. And so I am very excited that we are very close to being able to launch this officially. So you know that you are the first group that we've actually presented this to in an official capacity. We wanted to make sure that you got the information so that you could start to think about what you might be interested in building for this hackathon. And so I definitely would like to thank you all for taking the time to listen, and I look forward to any feedback that you may have.
And Scott, we really appreciate, I think, all of us, that you're opening this up for Blackboard for international partners, potentially, and international people to participate in the hackathon. So we know it's a big step for Blackboard, but we want to applaud you all doing it.
And the idea is that we're doing all this hard work this year so that next year we have everything in place to continue to make this an annual event. So Even if you aren't able to participate this year, we hope that you'll be able to participate in coming years as well.
Great. Thank you, Scott, and for your leadership as always. And certainly thank you, Elizabeth and Yvonne, for supporting us. We look forward to continuing this relationship. And to all of you here on this call, certainly hope that you have an opportunity and interest to engage with us in that capacity. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity to meet and have a conversation.
Alex, to answer your question, as part of BB World, we're planning a full Latin American summit, I think is what we're calling it. So we were expecting a ton of folks from Latin America at BB World as well.
Okay, do we have any other questions at this point?
No, Yvonne, Elizabeth, thank you again for your time and an opportunity for Scott and I to present. Next week, I'll be out of office at a leadership meeting, but the following week, hopefully once the legal aspects have been taken care of, we can start talking tactically how we communicate to the audience here.
Wonderful, sounds good. And thank you again for your time, for you joining this conversation today. And we will be in touch, and we will be working on those selection criteria that you mentioned and on presenting our companies to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And to Rostislav, are there events before BB World to participate in? What Scott mentioned is we will have a number of webinars to try and help our client partner community have these conversations at BB World. What we can do as part of that is extend invitations to you so you understand how we're talking about Blackboard, about integrations and partnerships, right, at BB World. And what I'll do is get a list of emails from Elizabeth and Yvonne and extend that invitation to you as well. All right, very good. Once again, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your, I think it's evening for you, and we look forward to talking soon. Scott Hurrey, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
All right, take care.